even if you are not religious, or even if you're not an atheist, no matter where you stand, that we can still come to an agreement about morality, that they're not, it is natural.
Like, I look at all these other faiths, all these other religious ideals, and man, they all kind of ask the same request of like, can you be good enough to earn God's love and favor?
Would you say that if you didn't have faith in Jesus, you go to hell?
Like, Jesus literally gave his life for us. He didn't have to. Before we jump into the video, just wanted to take a moment and thank the two gentlemen I spoke to in this video, Danny and Tyler. They were super kind, super respectful, very deep thinkers. And I think their worldview is that they were agnostic. I didn't officially sort of ask that question in the interview I had with them. Either way, it was a pleasure to talk with them. For all the other viewers, I would encourage you guys to stick around for the whole thing. It's a long one, but I think it was a really valuable discussion. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive in. So all we're asking is like, man, why do you think Gen Z is so lonely today?
We've been talking. We were just talking.
Just talking about it, dude. That's awesome.
Always thinking about it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reasons. Some of it's structural. Everyone's individualizing cars.
For sure. Yeah.
There's no ASU is a rare public space where we can interact.
Right.
Even then, we don't interact that much.
Yeah. You kind of all walk by each other and no one knows each other's names, and yeah, for sure.
Then, like I was talking about this. I own a scooter. I don't use it much.
Yeah.
Because I think there's something important to the friction, right? Scooters, there's more friction there than a car. But just walking, right?
Yeah.
It forces you to walking without headphones is something I've tried to do. You're forced to be within a space.
Yeah.
You're not able to alienate yourself. And that's so easy in a culture which makes cars the only way to get around.
For sure. Yeah.
And when we look at a car and they get in front of us, they do some don't like. We don't really picture them as a person driving the car, not as another person. They are just an object.
Yeah.
And I think that's dehumanizing, and I think it decreases our trust in others.
Yeah, there's those structural reasons, and then there's also economic reasons. Like prices, and everyone's concerned about their own survival.
It's hard to live, right?
It's so hard to and just
bubbles
for sure.
We live in a very different time than our parents. Definitely more unstable.
So, for sure. What are your guys' names, by the way?
My name's Tyler.
Tyler, I'm Cole. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
And
Danny.
Danny. Nice to meet you. Yeah, cool. Well, yeah, man, like I'm kind of going around too, and I'm also kind of like sharing my experience when I was in college, like how I experienced loneliness. Maybe it's true for you guys, I'm not sure. I agree 100% with what you're saying. Like, people walking around with headphones in, like they kind of shut the world out around them. But man, for me, I always just kind of felt like I didn't really fit in a university crowd. I went to U of A, I didn't go to ASU, but still same vibe, right? If like everyone's got headphones in, no one's talking to each other, no one's looking at each other, heads are down, and you're just kind of walking, doing your own thing. Has that ever been something you guys feel in that way? Or like maybe you don't feel like you're like doing like what everyone else is doing, if that makes sense?
It's the dopamine.
Dopamine?
We don't do what we actually want, right? I might want to, read a book about something, cultivate myself.
For sure.
But in front of me, I just have the screen. I want to scroll. And it's difficult to delete social media because, people who are addicted to something crave that thing. And it's not that there's a genuine want for it. You might want something else, but you're not able to make that choice freely.
And like part of the loneliness is like that feeling left out. I think a lot of people don't recognize their inner self, their weirdness.
Sure.
They just try to fit in with social norms. And I just feel like we need to recognize weirdness more in each other, and it's okay to be different. And a lot of us are working on that, but it's still, a lot of people don't feel like they fit in because there's there's just like social media definitely expands the like ideal
Yeah.
what you should
Yeah.
be like, and
Everyone's in their own corner.
Yeah, for sure. Have you guys ever been around people and still feel like alone, even if you're like hanging out with a group of people or, you know?
All the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Why do you think that is? Which is a deep question, by the way. You can think about that. You know.
it's kind of like they don't empathize with it. Like they, it doesn't really seem like they care. But of course, that could just be intuition.
Sure.
Maybe deeper connection.
Yeah.
But you know, yeah, it can just be like non-recognition. Like even strangers just not recognizing that each other have their differences, but they still have interests.
Yeah.
And they can connect in that manner.
Yeah.
People,
Yeah.
students.
You got something on your mind here?
Something that I have always just found iffy is we put logic against emotion,
Mhm.
right? And we act as if they're incompatible. That, for example, compassion is an irrational thing.
Sure. Yeah.
That choosing to be compassionate is sacrificing is noble because it sacrifices what is good for like. Sorry, I don't want to.
No, this is good. This is really good, dude. Yeah.
For something sublime, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That is not. It's diluted
Mhm.
in that. Really, if you just did the math, you should not be doing that.
Mhm.
But I think if we made compassion and mercy and grace towards others, showing others, being more willing to accept,
Yeah.
or at least withholding judgment until we have a better picture,
For sure.
then we would feel as if the people around us, we wouldn't be scared of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. Dude, I think you brought up a good point. Were you gonna say something, Elijah?
I was gonna ask a question.
Yeah.
So, where do you guys think that compassion, mercy, and grace comes from? Like, is that something that people are taught? Is it something that like is a kind of standard
Mhm.
rule of thumb that everyone follows? Like, where do you guys see that comes from?
I'm a philosophy major. Tyler here,
Sure.
yeah, but
But into philosophy.
Sure.
and I have a firm belief that morality is grounded in rational truths.
Mhm.
That it is baked into the metaphysics of what exists,
Mhm.
of what is, and that's why I choose to be. I think it is the true choice to be compassionate. I think it is something that is not manufactured,
Sure. Yeah.
but
It's
simply
authentic.
is true.
Yeah.
It is true.
It's authentic. You know it intuitively when people are compassionate towards you. And then I think you brought up a really good point. Like, who do you think the most compassionate man ever is? Like, if you think in your head, like, man, that person embodied compassion, who would that be in your head? Or any people throughout history, like whoever, kind of just comes to thought.
To me, it isn't a singular person.
Mhm.
It's the networks of people that we form, the connections we make, the small things.
Mhm.
If you don't have your headphones in, you're looking around, you're
Mhm.
engrossed in the world.
Mhm.
Seeing that has restored an immense amount of my faith in people around me.
Sure.
And being able to trust that other people are altruistic, but they are fundamentally good.
Yeah. Well, let me ask this. Or go ahead.
I just wanted to say, building on like the idea that compassion comes from rationality.
Mhm.
If you really think about it, like, emotion is a part of us as people.
Mhm.
We have to recognize that. And everyone has emotions.
Mhm.
There's no one that's just. And compassion is recognizing that between that we have needs, physical and mental.
Yeah.
Those need to be met, and working together is the best way.
Yeah, dude, that's really good. I guess I'm gonna kind of ask a zinger of a question, and I want you to bear with me. I think you guys are super deep thinkers, by the way, and I love it. You guys just have like really, really brilliant minds. Just hearing you articulate all this stuff. But one thing I kind of think of, you're talking about compassion, sacrifice, grace, like all these things that when we encounter people with these traits, we're kind of just warm to them, and we're like thankful those people act that way. And I think about, Jesus, for example, like Jesus
Mhm.
literally gave his life for us. He didn't have to,
Mhm.
right? Like he looked at your life, looked at your life, look at my life. And like, I don't know about you guys. I've made a lot of mistakes in my life, tons of mistakes. I've hurt a lot of people in my life. I've stolen things. I've hated people. I've lusted after women before. Like I've sinned in every single way, right? And maybe you guys might not be familiar with the Bible. Maybe you are, but I say this because Jesus looked at all of our lives and he said, even though you guys carry these faults with you, even though you have all these flaws, I'm going to lay my life down for you. Because when we sin and we're in this world, we sin, we break all these laws that God has for us. We're in this court of law and a judge is looking at us and saying like, hey, Cole, you got a stack of speeding fines and someone's going to have to pay them and I'm going to have to pay them. Right. And we all have to pay our own fines with our lives. Right. The wages of sin is death. And Jesus came into the world. He came barging into that courtroom. He looked at your life, my life, all of our lives. And he said, I'm going to pay that fine for you. What is that? How does that make you feel? Or like, what do you guys think about that?
I think that regardless whether you're religious, Jesus of Nazareth was a real person.
Mhm.
But what matters not is his supposed connection to being a son of God. Rather, the fact that he existed as a compassionate person,
Mhm.
spreading good social causes in a time of great oppression and slavery. And the fact that he materially helped people is, I think, what matters more than the notion that he is a son of God.
Sure.
And personally, I'm not religious. I used to be Christian, but
Mhm.
I do think Jesus was a good person
Yeah.
and he existed. It's just the son of God thing. Not
Yeah.
sure about it, but that's fine.
Oh, you're
What
chilling, dude.
matters is his.
You're just being honest. I appreciate it, by the way. Yeah, that's real. Were you going to say something?
I'm not religious either, but
Okay.
I think studying philosophy has made me realize that there's so many things which are possible. I'm not familiar. Are you Catholic or?
I'm just non-denominational Christian, just follower of Jesus. Yeah.
But within Christianity, Catholicism, the most famous Catholic philosopher is Thomas Aquinas,
Sure. Yeah.
right? And Aquinas did not believe in divine command theory, which is the idea that moral law is derived from God, but is that it is a rational, and that morality is rational, and that in the triple of God, omnipotent, omnipotent, omnipresent, omnibenevolent. Right?
Gotcha. Yeah.
In that, God simply recognizes these self-evident moral truths and follows them and applies them, and that morality is discoverable by anyone who rationally analyzes these truths.
Yeah.
And I think that is something which has made me. I'll be honest. I was pretty hostile towards religion
For sure.
until I studied philosophy. And among the people I know who are religious, they were hostile towards atheism. And
Yeah.
I think.
And I'm sorry, by the way, that sucks.
No.
Yeah.
As far, I think the dialogue
Yeah.
enabled by philosophy has been incredible for both of our lives. We were talking about this
Yeah.
like 10 minutes ago.
So you guys are dope, by the way. I appreciate this. Yeah.
And of course, and it is that expansion of what may be, understanding that there's so much more is possible, and that even if you are not even if you are not religious, or even if you're not an atheist, no matter where you stand, that we can still come to an agreement about morality, that they're not. It is natural. I don't think you have to believe that. I just think it's something that gives me solace when I think about how divided we are between religious first and
Sure.
theistic.
And I'll kind of ask this, like, I think you guys kind of touched on it, but do you think morality is objective or subjective?
Objective.
Objective. Okay. What makes you say that? Like, who gets to define what the objective standard is, if that makes sense.
I don't think it has to be determined by an individual. I think it can be simply rational. And I mean, this is we get into like meta logic, but what gives rationality its credence, which I think is maybe that's where religion can come in. But I think it is objective because I believe that my intuitions about morality, that our shared intuitions, have something to say. And this is borrowing from a famous utilitarian philosopher named Henry Sidgwick.
Okay.
But that, there are these self-evident rational self-evident truths. About morality.
Well, and I guess like I'm kind of thinking about what you're saying. Like my mind goes to this idea of like, if Jesus did die and rise again, then wouldn't that make him the objective standard that we follow? Like if he is the one that determines when we come into this world and when we come out of this world, then shouldn't I listen to everything that he has to say, or should I listen to myself?
I think that, sorry,
either one of you can chime in, by the way.
I just wanted to say in regards to morality.
Sure.
I'll get to the Jesus thing.
Sure. Yeah.
It's somewhere between subjective and objective, because I think there are material determinants, emotion, part of our bodies, and the resources that we interact with. It's almost thermodynamic in a way, like social reproduction, like not in a, but like how society expands, cooperates. In that sense, there's an objective measure ability of, I don't want to say efficiency, but goodness.
Okay.
And I think, and so the reason it might be constructed is there might be different views on how these materials are managed and contracts between people and nature. So it's a little subjective, but I do think there's an objective component.
Yeah.
About what you said.
So yeah, sure.
I think I understand where you're coming from, but I think that is, I'm not trying to be hostile.
No, you're okay. You're good. It's water on rocks for me.
I think it's a leading question somewhat.
Okay. Sure.
Because you were required to already have those metaphysical commitments to a God, and that God is is an Abrahamic God, and then within the Abrahamic gods, that is the Christian God, and that you have to make those commitments first before you accept what you said. And I think it is equally plausible to hold Jesus of Nazareth in extremely high regard, without being religious. And Kierkegaard had. I'm kind of contradicting myself. Kierkegaard believed God is inherently irrational.
Okay.
The leap of faith that you can rationally analyze all of reality, but the jump to faith is irrational.
Yeah.
But that's not a bad thing, right? And I think that is, whether it is valid or not, I think that is a truth about faith in religion. Whether we're willing to make that leap of faith, whether we in our lives have experienced enough to make that leap of faith. And Kierkegaard doesn't just believe that, you can expand it to a leap of faith in something which is not necessarily God. But I mean, religion certainly is the prime example to history.
Sure.
But
I guess what I'm kind of thinking when you mention that, like I think about my own life as far as like you mentioned leap of faith, and like I'm an engineer, so like super analytical, like and I totally sympathize with you being like you're mentioning kind of rationalizing the world around us, and like how do we logically think about this and like orient all these pieces together to where it makes and I think for me, just the decision to follow Christ was totally illogical for me. I lost friends. It was uncomfortable to tell my parents that. They're like, what? Man, so much of my community.
The hostility towards religion is unwarranted,
Okay.
and also the hostility towards a lack of religion is also unwarranted. Yeah. This is just my perspective, but
Yeah.
that if anything, dialogue like this.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate how cool you guys have been. Even with my microphone
We were just
falling into pieces.
important before we encountered you. How
Yeah.
important it is, and how rare it is, unfortunately, that society has these dialogues. And like just being fair to each other, listening.
Yeah, and kind of resuming where I was once I my microphone fell apart on me. Like I took a step of faith, and there's a story in the Bible with Peter when he walks on water. You might have heard it before. And like, dude, I think about Peter. That was the most illogical thing you could do. You're in this storm, and you see this guy walking on water. You can't help but think, why would I think I should walk out in this boat onto water? I have no idea what that looks like.
Yeah.
And yet he takes that step anyways, right? And the waves are raging. And the only reason he sinks is because he got scared, because he let the logic of his brain stop him from experiencing the glory and the goodness of God. Which when I heard that in college, I'm like, I don't even know what that means. I don't even know what that is. But like, has there ever been a moment where maybe you've kind of felt like, man, I might have to take this illogical step, but if I do, it might show me something I wouldn't otherwise know. Does that make sense?
I think about the idea of a leap of faith a lot. So I don't want to get too into personal details.
Sure,
but,
sure.
now my dad got injured. He's essentially unable to move anything other than his eyes.
Okay.
And he has limited cognitive function. And I can only see him like once or twice a year because he's in Korea. And when I went this winter, just a few weeks ago, the last time I visited him in the hospital was I saw some snow fall. It was the first time I saw snow my whole time in Korea.
Yeah.
And it was right after I just talked to him. I don't know. I didn't know whether he understood what I was saying. But I think that is those kinds of really serendipitous moments are, if anything, what I find to be the most compelling pushes towards religion. But
yeah.
And I want to, but I balance that with trying to be philosophically rigorous.
Sure. You should be.
Because I think there's issues not with a specific faith, but just the.
You can have issues with Christianity. That's totally okay.
No. I mean, I'm talking about Christianity, Islam, and Judaism.
Sure.
In particular.
Yeah.
The Abrahamic gods have these unique traits. Triple O traits.
Yeah.
And
I guess one thing
with the problem of evil.
Yeah.
The existence of evil.
Sure.
That is something that I think is almost an intractable problem.
Yeah. And one thing I'll add, I think you made a really good point of like, I look at all these other faiths, all these other religious ideals, and man, they all kind of ask the same request of like, can you be good enough to earn God's love and favor?
I think that's beautiful. Yeah.
But I think where Christianity really separates itself, and this is really the beautiful thing about what Jesus did, is Jesus saw us and said, you know what? There's nothing you could do. Like you could live your whole life perfectly. You could live your whole life devoted to me. But it's not about the things you do. It's about you surrendering your heart to me and being willing to say, you know what, Jesus, the only reason I could ever even stand before you, that I could ever go to heaven, is because of what you did for me on the cross, and you didn't have to, right? It was totally an act of grace, what you were talking about earlier with grace, mercy, sacrifice. Like he looks at all of our lives, all of our flaws, even when we shove them away and we shove them down, we're like, God, I don't want anything to do with you. And yet he comes running into this world on this rescue mission, and he doesn't have to, right? He could have called down a legion of angels while he's on the cross. He could have ended the pain at any moment, and he endured every second for it, of it, so that he could look at you, he could look at Elijah and me, and say, you are worth saving. You're worth dying for. And I don't think you can see that in any other faith in the world. I think that's so unique to Christianity that God loves us so much that he dies for us. Whereas like in Islam, it's like, how can I earn paradise, eternal paradise through the things that I do Mormonism. How could I be good enough to earn these different tiers of heaven? Any of these other faiths. It's all about you and what you can do. But Jesus says there's nothing you can do apart from me. Like, I came into this world to rescue you because there's nothing you could do on your own. What does that make you think of? Or like, how do you feel about that?
I don't want to be too argumentative.
It's okay. It's totally fine. I got it.
I think that unique aspect is what makes Christianity more disagreeable.
Sure.
The notion that it doesn't matter what you do, whether you're materially good or treat people. Would you say that if you didn't have faith in Jesus, you go to hell?
If I didn't have faith in Jesus, I would go to hell, because, and I'll tell you why. Because God isn't just saying, well, you don't follow me, see you later, buddy. He's saying, I'm going to give you what you want, right? Me saying I don't want to live for Jesus, I don't want to follow him. Why would I want to spend eternity with a guy that I don't care about, right? He just honors your request. He's not sending you there because he's like punishing you. He's like, screw you. And like, boom, floorboards drop beneath you, you fall down. Like, he's saying, I love you too.
What is your version of hell? Just, is it like the...
Hell is in the Bible, it's described as a lake of fire. It's eternal anguish. It's the way that I've always kind of imagined it based on what I read in the Bible is it's like the feeling you get after failing a test, but it just stays with you forever.
That's not what you choose when you reject God.
So wait, so do you think you have... Wait, so one second. So you're saying you don't take it literally?
What do you mean by that?
The hellfire, the lake of fire, all that.
It could be. I mean, if we read the scripture, it's described as that. But again, I think when we read that, it depends on the literary style that's written in. Were they being literal? Were they exaggerating and trying to make a point to like show you the fear of like what awaits you? We don't know 100% what hell is like because I haven't been there. You haven't been there. Hopefully, none of us have, right? But we know it's whatever it is. It's probably not good, right? It's probably a really bad place to be, is how I see it. I think it's eternal anguish. I really do.
You don't think it's necessarily the literal one? Okay. Sorry, just...
It could be.
Could be, but
yeah.
You think it's more anguish.
I can't say I know because I haven't been there, but it could be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Were you going to say something?
It's kind of like the complete absence of the goodness of God.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's pretty much.
Yeah. And then, were you going to say something?
Well, if you don't choose faith, that isn't choosing eternal anguish. So the idea that you're choosing eternal anguish because not faithful, and the idea that people deserve to eternally suffer, I just don't see that being compatible for a benevolent entity.
Sure. Yeah. I guess let me clarify it this way, right? If I want a relationship with a girl and I go up to her and I ask her out, she says no. I can't be like, actually, no, you're going out with me, grab her hand by force and be like, sorry, like this is for your own good, right? That would be violating her free will. And so we all have free will. We all get to choose. Are we going to surrender to a God who gives us the option to follow him? Or are we going to choose ourselves? And it's really hard. Like you were saying earlier, dude, it made me so uncomfortable when someone presented that same thing to me. Because I'm thinking, man, I want control of my own life. Why would I want to listen to this guy who may or may not be real, that I'm not so sure about? But yet, when I trusted him with just one step, and I said, you know what, I might not know what lies ahead of me, but I know if I put my faith and my trust in Jesus, meaning, I walk in faithfulness, even though it's uncomfortable, it sucks, and I'm like, I don't know what any of this means, and I feel weird. And yet he'll reveal himself over these events in time that happen. You look back and you're like, how did that even happen? Right? There's no rational reason how I could explain how some of these things happen. How I ran into you guys, just me wandering around at ASU. And you're talking about the exact thing, like that alone has to at least, it doesn't make you have to believe in God, but it could at least pique your curiosity of like, man, that is crazy that could happen, right? How does that, I kind of mentioned earlier, like the free will aspect of that. Do you agree with that or not really?
Yeah. Free will is a misnomer.
Okay.
We don't have total free choice. We're restricted by our material conditions.
Mm-hmm.
So our options are limited based on the economic system we're in, people we're around, where we live, the resources that are available, our very bodies are limits. So I wouldn't call it free will, but we do have agency. I don't know what I'd call it, but
Sure.
it's not totally free, but like we can move. Yeah, we can move.
Okay.
And just about the like the chances of like meeting.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't necessarily have to be like a divine command. It's infinite variation
Sure.
reality.
Yeah.
So,
And I think, from an outsider's perspective,
Mhm.
I think a meritorious point towards Christianity is, even if you are born into certain conditions, that the faith can save. I firmly believe that if you are born into conditions which are conducive to like drug abuse,
Sure. Mhm.
that can lead into being abusive to your family, towards your family, and then having the blame, not well, yes, blameworthiness, yes.
Mhm.
I think religion or not, you would say that there's a degree of blameworthiness, but
Sure.
being damned to factors outside of your control, that you are fully blameworthy for this action,
Mhm.
even though you did not will it completely freely, that there were coercive forces.
Sure.
But I think my issue is that there's the person who has these same conditions,
Mhm.
so grows up in these same conditions, that they live the exact same life. Just the difference is a lack of faith.
Mhm.
And that person suffers the anguish, um, whatever it may be.
Sure.
Even though they were coerced, they were coercive forces. I love citing the statistic. The best predictor of where you'll end up in life is the zip code you were born in. And,
Okay.
I think it was Aristotle. If you have the basic things in your life covered, then you don't have to cheat or scam someone. You don't have to rip someone off.
Mhm.
I mean, lots of people do
Yeah.
if they have
Yeah.
enough.
For sure.
If you don't, sometimes deception, theft is necessary to survive, and
Mhm.
maybe you might have Les Mis, right? You might have external responsibilities.
Yeah.
And I don't think that person is worthy of damnation, deserves it.
Okay.
And that's, I think, something that I find very difficult to give up.
Let me ask you guys this: if Jesus were to appear in front of you right now, right? He did some miraculous thing, right? Which I lose my mind too. But let's just say he appeared in front of us right now. Would you guys put your faith in him?
Yeah.
Okay. So what?
that's the problem, is the concealment,
Mhm.
the notion that we can't know God and yet we can somehow follow him.
Mhm.
And if we're skeptical of that, then we're suffering anguish for eternity.
Okay.
I don't think that's a fair deal to beings that he designed.
Well, couldn't we know God if we read the Bible? Like, because God, that's literally God's love letter to us. Him saying like everything He's done for us, everything He says we are. He knew you before He formed you. You're more than a conqueror. Like all these things that God, adamantly loves about us. Like we're all made in the image of God.
What if you were born in like ancient Peru 3,000
Sure.
years ago?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I think there's this thing called general revelation, where God essentially He instills in us, says in Jeremiah, that the law of God's written on our heart, and that's like kind of this intuition of like murder's wrong, and obviously it is, right? We all agree objective morality in that sense, like murder's wrong, stealing's wrong, all these different things are wrong, and yet somebody who lives in the middle of the Amazonian rainforest or whatever, they would still know that standard too. They might have a different culture. They might have different practices. They might believe in different spirits and all these things. But something about every human being on planet Earth appeals to this idea that there's a creator, that there's something that created all of us, everything, right?
The difference between the Abrahamic gods and ones such as in Mesoamerica
Sure.
is vast.
Yeah. Yep.
Polytheism is, in the Bible, demonized, and
Mhm.
there was conflict between polytheists and monotheists.
Sure.
And so what he said is being being in the world thousands of years ago when the Bible was written, but not in the location where the Bible occurred.
Mhm.
It's just,
Some have an advantage.
it's a little
Yeah.
odd.
No, definitely. I think the way I would understand it is this, like, it says in the Bible, God judges us by our heart. And so he knows, like, man, if there's no way you could know anything about the Bible because you're totally isolated, there's no chance you could ever reach it or hear about it. Like, he knows. He's not clueless. He's not putting on blinders intentionally saying, this guy should have known. It's like he recognizes that, and he'll judge that person according to their heart, according to how they appeal to what is objectively good. Does that make sense?
I think the
I-
rub,
I've heard this.
yeah, I think the
Yeah.
rub is all of that. There's a perfectly plausible, rigorously defensible explanation for the same phenomenon, which does not require religious commitments, and that is why we agree on a lot with a lot of what you're saying.
Yeah.
But it's just the agreement plus we don't have this issue of. I think this is kind of, we've come at a point where there's a bit of tension there.
Sure. It can be uncomfortable. Like
Mhm.
1 million, I totally get it. Man,
Mhm.
when I heard the gospel the first time, I felt terrible. I'm like, dude, no, like I'm going to live life my way, dude. And it's really difficult to be like Peter and be like, I'm going to take that step of faith. Like, why would I do that logically? Why would I do that? But that's kind of the point, right? You were saying, like, how can we know God if I don't necessarily see him physically? Sure, I have the Bible, but is there more? And what I would say to you guys is this, like, consider the evidence. Consider what Jesus did in his time here, the people that witnessed it, why they were willing to die, how much they lost. Think about, too, the meaning of what Jesus did in your life, man, which is hard to do, by the way, like very, very hard, because I had to be honest with myself and be like, I'm not deserving of this. I don't deserve any of this. But I totally respect your guys' opinion and where you come from. I don't want to keep you guys here forever. I really appreciate
it. I think
I appreciate the conversation, but
really respect that.
That's another thing that I don't like is I think you do deserve this. I think you are a person with agency in
Mhm.
this world. And if we're getting along, we're interacting, discussing, the you're not wrong for that.
yeah,
I mean, I know you have an ontological commitment to God that I don't.
yeah,
A big word, but like, just like, what do you think is real? Like,
What
what is
exists,
being?
fundamentally.
What is
Sure,
what exists?
sure.
So I think the fine line
Mm.
that I draw, but maybe we draw, in philosophy, there's a thing called epistemic humility,
Sure.
which is essentially recognizing the limits of our knowledge
Mhm.
and that we should not commit to beliefs that are unfounded, especially if they're unsound or unvalid arguments.
Sure.
But it's considered virtuous. And I was thinking about this earlier today, like, what are the arguments towards virtuosity?
Mhm.
And to be fair, I would like to know more about the true historical archaeological record of Jesus.
Mhm. And I encourage you guys to check that out.
I can
And
look into that.
before we end this, what I want to do, if you guys are totally comfortable with this, you can say no. Is there any way I could pray for anything going on in your life? And would you want to see and experience what God could do in your life, even if you're not sure, even if it's like,
I think,
man,
as someone who studies philosophy, as people who study philosophy, we always have a bit of doubt.
and that's normal, by the
Yeah,
way.
and so
That's totally normal. Me too.
Yeah, I see no reason not to say no.
Okay.
So,
And then what were your guys' names again? I'll go ahead and pray. Tyler, and then what was yours?
Danny.
Danny. Okay.
Cool, right?
Yeah. Would you be okay if I put a hand on your guys' shoulders and pray for you? Yeah. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, it's fine. Let's go here. I got you, dude. So Tyler, Danny. Gotcha. Lord, I just pray for Tyler and Danny. Lord, I pray that you would reveal yourself to them as you did for me. Lord, we're just thankful for everything you're doing in their life. Thankful for just the minds you've given them to think so deeply and care so deeply about the people around them. Lord, just pray that you work a miracle in their life, that you would show them things that they can't really explain with logic, Lord. Lord, that you would just be just this great immovable force in their life, Lord, that you would show them your goodness, your kindness, and what you did for them on the cross. And Lord, we're just thankful for everything you're doing to them. And Lord, we pray all this in your name. Amen. Yeah, appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the conversation.
Yeah, and hopefully the mics picked it up.
Like
But-
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to see this, just type in Normal Lion on YouTube. That's my channel.
Normal lion.
Yeah. And yeah, it may or may not. I'm hoping the audio didn't. If it was out the whole time, still an awesome conversation. But I appreciate you guys.
I appreciate.
I very much appreciate this
Yeah,
conversation.
I think it's
thank you guys. Appreciate it.
I'm gonna be honest. Like, I'm skeptical of Christianity, but I don't often get the chance to interact with Christians. I have
Yeah.
Christian friends, but like
Yeah.
people, Christian strangers, it's been a long time.
Yeah,
So
and bro, like
I appreciate
if
that
you-
y'all are coming out here.
if you continue to walk in the sense of like, man, I'm at least going to be open to see what God can do. I promise you, He'll reveal Himself. Like He did it for me in a way that I couldn't understand in my life.
and that's
and-
the beauty of it, right?
Yeah. I appreciate you guys.
It's always good.
So, yeah. And also, if you ever want to talk, you can just DM me on Instagram. So let me know. I'm open. So
Well,
yeah. Appreciate it.
Right.
We'll maneuver here.
Thanks.
Awesome.
Y'all
Right, you guys
Have a good night, you guys.
Y'all have a good
Stay
night.
safe.